Jordan Whittington, he was someone that I brought up when we had our last show. And number 88, he's got the long braids. He wasn't hard to not see out there. But he really stood out during training camp. I know you brought him up, and then when I went, I noticed him as well. But my question to you is he now the Puka Nakua of this training camp in terms of, is he the next guy that's going to break out for the Rams? Or is it just the offense, the Sean McVay, that it allows receivers to be able to feel comfortable in an offense like this?
I don't think it's the offense. You still have to have some good skills, high level skills to succeed in Sean McVay's offense. We've seen wide receivers, try and fail. And I won't name names right now.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
guess the only thing we could just say that resembles Puka Nakua is the long hair. The long hair is sticking out.
Yes.
But I don't want to go that far for Jordan Whittington, who's having a great preseason, a great training camp. But if it doesn't feel as I guess like as exciting or high level as Puka. Like with Puka, you could just tell he's going to
Right.
be a star. Obviously, not to the extent that we saw last year, where he broke a lot of records, but he does seem like a guy who's going to be able to push for snaps in the regular season, push to be in the rotation, which is going to be hard to do when you have Demarcus Robinson, Puka, and Cooper Kupp. But they're pretty thin after that. So to see Jordan Whittington have a great preseason debut like he's doing right now, currently against the Cowboys, that's good to see. And I don't know, maybe when Matthew Stafford is your quarterback, maybe even look at even better because Stetson Bennett, as we mentioned already, is struggling. But it's
Right.
good that you're getting a gem like that. But maybe let's go back to the year before that, 2022, Lance McCutcheon. We all thought he might be somebody, and he
True.
disappeared. So it's about being consistent, doing it in the regular season, and making the most of your opportunities. But right now, it's not regular season, so we haven't got to that point. But all we see is preseason, training camp, and so far, he's answering the call.
Yeah, and you also had the Cooper Cup, injury that kind of allowed Puka to kind of break out. So there's also, you need chances in order to be able to break out. But he's a good player that has worked out so far during training camp, and it's good to see, guys. You're gonna see this all over the NFL. These next couple weeks where you have guys that break out, but as we've heard, the cautionary tale is a Lance McCutcheon, where everybody falls in love with a player, and they're like, "Well, why didn't he make the team?" And he made the team, but he just wasn't what everybody expected. That he would have an impact during the season, I should say.
Yeah, I guess the best thing you could do is follow the Puka blueprint where he really embraced the dirty work, the blocking aspect of it. Like you find the spot on the field, even if it's special teams. If you're doing the dirty work, you're blocking. And I know we'll get into it, but it's funny seeing Sean McVay not show anything when it comes to the new kickoff rule. There, he keeps kicking it, or Karty keeps kicking it into the back of the end zone there. But yeah, plays like that. If you're able to block, which is going to be critical in these new kickoff rules, you're able to block in traditional wide receiver sets. That's going to pay off. But Jordan Whittington so far doing his part as a wide receiver. He's not as big as Puka, so I don't know how he's going to be in terms of blocking. But that's all you heard last year. Like, yeah, this guy gets it when it comes to the physical standpoint of the game.
Yeah, and it's your typical receiver that really he has all the measurables in terms of what you need for this kind of offense at 11 personnel. So we'll see what happens. It's good to see him break out. But for you, what was something that kind of one of your takeaways from this game? I know it's preseason, Gilbert.
Yeah.
I get it, but there had to have been a couple of players that kind of stood out to you.
I really have three, and one we already talked about in Jordan Whittington, and I think the other one we could save for a discussion after this. But obviously, the rookie kicker Joshua Karty making his field goals, that's a big deal. Hey, but a surprise in Tyler Davis, man. Like this guy looks like a mauler out there, getting a couple sacks or tackles for losses, getting in the back of the in the backfield. And I think there was one that occurred when Sean McVay was on the call, and Sean McVay was pumped to see Tyler Davis. I think he's a rookie 6th-round pick this year, so a guy who's drafted that late and making plays like that while the coach is watching, while he's on TV and saying that you're blowing up plays there. That's a good thing to do, especially when you're. I'm not trying to compare anybody to Aaron Donald, but especially in a year without Aaron Donald, the more bodies that are contributing at that position in the interior, the more depth that you have, the better you're going to be in the end. But obviously, that's going to be up to Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner to do most of the work there. But if a guy like Tyler Davis emerges as a good rotational piece, hey, that's good. That's better in the end, because we saw what a deep rookie class did last year.
Yeah, and good memory by you, Gilbert. Sixth ranked pick out of Clemson. But yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see him. You need those kind of guys. We understand. Nobody's gonna replace Aaron Donald, but you need guys. You need depth along that defensive line. We've already seen Kobe Turner, miss a couple of training camp days, and he's been back. And so and then I was kind of hoping we see Braden Fix in this game, but I get it. They don't, especially with all the injuries that have happened. You kind of want to put your starters in bubble wrap right now. No Jared Verse as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good to see some of these guys who are, looking to fill in whether it's a second team or a third team, which is gonna be really helpful with the season, because we've seen injuries happen with this Rams team. You're hoping that they stay healthy, but we've seen it. It's the NFL. Guys are going to get hurt, and you're going to need some depth. And seeing a guy like Tyler Davis kind of step up, it has been that was a bright spot for them, because I honestly didn't know what to expect. We know what to expect from Bobby Brown. We know he's going to fill in. He's a big guy who's going to fill the lanes there on the defensive tackle, but you need more guys, especially now that you move, someone like Michael Hoyt to defensive end. You need guys to be able to tackle, step up at the defensive tackle position, Gilbert.
Yeah, we were hoping to get a little more storylines if the two first picks in 2024 draft played, like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, like you mentioned, not out there. So when you see a guy like Tyler Davis make the most of his opportunities and make plays that just stand out, or in the mind of Sean McVay in the forefront there, that's pretty good for him to do. But and then going back to Stetson Bennett, I guess it's a little rough too when you're playing with the I guess a thin offensive line. I'm
Yes.
not saying Jonah Jackson's going to be out there or Allery Jackson. Or maybe Jonah would have been out there just to kind of get some opportunities with the new team to feel good about it. But obviously they're down 3 starters in the offensive line. You don't have your full array of weapons. So just to make a couple excuses for Stetson Bennett. And I think when you get a couple interceptions, you start getting into your head and it starts snowballing. And you start forcing throws. You start thinking, I haven't done anything in a year. I went away from football for a year. I got to make the most of my opportunities. I think that pressure started to come in again. But having a guy like Jordan Whittington step up and help, that's big too. But it's a very thin Rams unit out there, and I just saw that Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, decided to, I guess, cancel the scrimmage against the Saints because there's so many injuries on the 49ers where he doesn't have enough bodies to do a scrimmage. So that's kind of affecting the Rams on the field right now. But hey, get through the game and no more injuries.